After 15 years of working with my company, I received a rather surprising termination letter from the CEO. It said, "Restructuring, you are fired." A younger recruit said goodbye teasing. I said, "Thank you for the opportunity," and left. The next day they needed me, but it was too late. I'd given Pinnacle Solutions 15 years of my life when the email hit my inbox like a sucker punch. It was late afternoon, the office humming with the usual clatter of keyboards and half-hearted chatter. I had just wrapped a call with a client, Mrs. Delaney, who'd been with us for a decade and still called me the only one who gets it, when I saw the subject line, "Organizational Update." No big deal, I thought. Victor Grayson, our CEO, loved sending these vague, self-important memos. I clicked it open, expecting jargon about synergy or streamlining. Instead, I got this: "Due to restructuring, your position is eliminated effective immediately. Regards, Victor." 15 years, and that was it. No warning, no thanks for your service, not even a phone call. Just 13 words and a digital signature. I sat there, staring at the screen, my pulse thumping in my ears. Senior account manager gone, effective immediately. I was 42, not some kid fresh out of college, and I'd built half their client base from scratch. Yet here I was, erased in a sentence. I leaned back in my chair, the leather creaking under me, and let it sink in. The office didn't stop, phones kept ringing, someone laughed too loudly across the room, but it felt like I'd been yanked out of time. I glanced at my desk, a stack of files I'd been prepping for next week's meetings, a framed photo of me and my old dog, Max, from before he passed. 15 years of late nights, skipped weekends, and deals I'd fought tooth and nail to close. And for what? Restructuring? Everything okay? Martin, my colleague from 2 cubicles over, poked her head around the partition. She had a knack for reading people, and I guess my face was screaming something. "Yeah," I lied, forcing a smile. "Just wrapping up. No point in spilling it yet. I'd tell her later, maybe, if I didn't choke on the humiliation first." I started packing, not much to take, just the photo, a few pens, a notebook I'd scribbled client quirks in over the years. Mrs. Delaney likes 2 sugars in her coffee, Mr. Patel hates small talk. Little things that kept them loyal. As I slid the notebook into my bag, Jake swaggered over. He was the new kid, barely 20, all gelled hair and cheap bravado. Victor had hired him a month ago, part of his fresh blood kick. "Goodbye, old-timer," he said, smirking like he wanted something. Time for the young guns to take over. I looked up at him, his grin wide and careless, and felt a flicker of heat in my chest. I could have snapped back, told him I'd closed more deals in a year than he'd managed in a decade, but what was the point? He'd learned soon enough. Instead, I zipped my bag, stood, and said, "Thank you all for the opportunity," calm and steady, like I was leaving a meeting, not my career. Jake blinked, thrown off by the lack of a fight, but I was already walking past Lisa, who shot me a worried look I didn't return. Past the break room where I'd spent 1,000 lunch hours, out the glass doors, into the elevator, my reflection staring back at me, graying temples, tired eyes, but a jaw still set hard. I wasn't done. Not yet. At home, I dropped my bag on the kitchen counter and poured a glass of water. The apartment was quiet, too quiet, and my mind wouldn't stop racing. I pulled up the email again on my phone, rereading those 13 words until they blurred. Victor hadn't even bothered with a severance mention, just effective immediately, like I was a line item to scratch off. I thought about the early days, back when Pinnacle was a scrappy startup, when I'd stayed late to pitch clients Victor couldn't charm. I trusted him, believed in the "we're a family" line he used to throw around. What a joke. I opened my laptop, the screen glowing in the dim room, and pulled up my resume. It was outdated, last tweaked 5 years ago, but the bones were solid. 15 years of results, clients who'd stuck with me through mergers, recessions, Victor's ego trips. I started typing, updating titles, adding numbers, $5 million in revenue last year alone. My phone buzzed. Victor's name flashed on the caller ID. I let it ring out. He left no voicemail, and I wasn't in the mood to hear his voice. I fired off the resume to 3 contacts, a headhunter I'd met at a conference, a rival firm's VP who'd once tried to poach me, and an old client who'd hinted at freelance work if I ever left. Then I leaned back, glass in hand, and let the day settle over me. Fired at 42, no warning, a kid mocking me on my way out. It stung. God, it stung, but I wasn't broken. I built something at Pinnacle, something bigger than Victor realized, and I'd build again. The phone buzzed again. "Victor, round 2. I silenced it and stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow I'd figure out the next step. Tonight, I just needed to breathe. But as I sat there, a question nagged at me: what happens when the guy who fires you figures out he's the one who screwed up? I woke up to 7 missed calls from Victor, 7. The first came at 8:03 a.m., the last at 10:42, and my phone screen lit up like a scoreboard of his panic. I didn't listen to the voicemails, not yet. I'd been fired less than 24 hours ago, and whatever he wanted could wait. I shuffled to the kitchen, brewed a pot of coffee, and sat at the counter with my laptop. The plan was simple: sort through the job offers trickling in, map out my next move. I wasn't wallowing. 15 years at Pinnacle had taught me how to pivot, and I wasn't about to start doubting myself now. By 9:30, my inbox had 3 replies. The headhunter, Karen, said she'd pitch me to a couple of firms. By noon, the VP from Apex Innovations, a competitor I'd always respected, sent a one-liner: "Lunch tomorrow. We need to talk." And Tom Reynolds, a client I'd worked with for 8 years, wrote: "Heard you're free. Let's discuss something independent. Call me." I leaned back, sipping my coffee, letting the possibilities sink in. Double my old salary at Apex? My own gig with Tom? For the first time since that email hit, I felt the ground steadying under me. Then my phone buzzed again. "Victor, 5th call." I smirked and muted it. Let him stew. I'd given him 15 years of loyalty, and he'd given me 13 words and a kick out the door. If he thought I'd jump when he snapped his fingers, he'd forgotten who I was. I opened a spreadsheet instead, jotting down the pros and cons of each offer. Apex meant stability, a team, a corner office, maybe. Tom's idea was riskier, freelance, no safety net, but total control. I was halfway through when the phone lit up with a text. Martin, call me. Urgent. Victor, again. I ignored it and kept typing. Around 11 o'clock, Lisa texted, you okay? Office is a mess today. I frowned, thumbs hovering over the screen. A mess? I'd figured Pinnacle would feel my absence, someone had to pick up my accounts, but mess sounded bigger. What's going on? I shot back. Her reply came fast, clients bailing. A lot. All asking for you. I stared at the words, my coffee going cold in my hand. Clients bailing? Asking for me? A slow grin crept across my face. I hadn't expected this, not so soon. I flipped on my work email, still active, sloppy on their end, and there it was, chaos in black and white. Subject lines from clients I'd known for years, contract termination notice. Requesting confirmation of your status. Moving our business elsewhere. I opened one from Mrs. Delaney. Martin, she wrote, I just heard you're gone. You're the only one we trusted at Pinnacle. We're out. Please call me back. Another from Mr. Patel, short and sharp, no Martin. No deal. Canceling. I scrolled through 38 emails. 38 cancellations, all saying the same thing.